You have to go through the dark times to appreciate the light at the end of the tunnel. Case in point, UABQ used to be run out of my basement, and
now it's in the back of a Pep Boys.
Yeah, we're doing big things here.
I like to be a hybrid. You know, I like the old school system because if technology fails, you still have it.
Still have your
paper.
Rolodex, yeah.
Right, but technology wins when it comes to efficiency and speed.
Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Oh my God, welcome back to UABQ. Now look, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, and lifestyle so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out on our social media tag up here. Join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Oh, Grant Harvey, home loan expert. This is my first time on the show. Welcome back.
It's season 6, dude. You probably know Grant as the guy from Where's Waldo. Anyways, he used to be the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team. Now he's doing bathroom renovations and killing it in mortgages.
You got that right. And you've seen Skip in HGTV's House Hunters, and he's part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the world.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by Andrew Antonen. He's a mentor, sobriety coach, and advocate, and the owner of Amtek Builders here locally. He's got a great story of growing up and taking over the family business after overcoming some adversity.
Yeah, didn't want to take over my family business, never looked back. Shorten that story.
And then obviously stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Grant, you've been working on a bathroom remodel, I heard.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
We're halfway through season 6, still getting it done though.
Yeah, so I've got old Anderson at DR Horton doing this off time at my house, and I've got old Clarkey. So those two are bringing the slow boat.
Which, by the way,
China.
they are best friends, travel buddies, doing overnight trips to Aspen, just out there.
Oh yeah, Clark is over
dicks.
in Costa Rica now. He's decided to take hard-earned time. So every time I get my labor over there, and they're doing it for free, mind you. So this is the result of free labor. They last time got together at my house to work, and then they're like, "You want to take off to Aspen?" And you guys are making travel plans when you get here to get out of my house. So yeah, it's been a slow process, but they're doing good work, and I'll show progress next week when I guess Mark's computer isn't on fire.
Yeah. Well, the pictures came out good that I saw. So anyways, I'm excited to see the final project. That's my old bedroom, by the way. A few people know this, but when I was playing baseball, I would come home in the off season, crash at Grant's house in the guest room.
For like 3 years or something, right? It would just be open for him, and I'd like, all right, as long as you're good with no heat in the house.
No heat or running water.
Can't afford it. Deals were slow. Yeah.
No, some cool things. We always talk about AI on the show, and some of the funny things people are posting online about, you can tell AI to generate an image of anything, and so it's funny to watch some of the differences. So for instance, here's some AI footage of what do girls look like in Santa Fe versus Albuquerque, and this is what AI thinks. There's Albuquerque, and there's...
Oh, nice. All right. That's what Santa Fe look like. They look like font. I'm really fond of them.
Oh, here's our Santa Fe gals. Very nice, covered in turquoise head to toe. Oh my God, it's Albuquerque.
It's just the same group with like denim and like prison blues. More winged eye makeup. That's nice AI.
Well, that's we have a certain.
Allen Iverson, I'm mad about what you've been doing.
What if he was the guy behind it, just drawing pictures?
There he goes again. Yeah, you know what to do.
No, but Albuquerque's going through some changes.
Was that a girl with a mustache?
It was. She had a nice rack though.
Oh my God. AI, dude, I haven't got to play with AI. This actually, for Skip being, my age, he's actually on the forefront of a lot of technology, and then he eventually abandons it and goes, okay, it's getting too hard. But some of these stuff you're doing, it makes me want to go play with it.
It's awesome, man. It's super fun. It really streamlines your workload.
What work were you doing there?
Yeah, well, I got to produce an entire TV show.
He's running the indoor mercado now.
You and I were talking earlier about, growing up in Albuquerque, and one of the coolest places that we used to hang out was Windrock Mall.
Windrock, yep.
And then Windrock went through a little downtime wherein basically it went into foreclosure, essentially. But it's since gone through a rebirth, and so what they've done is they've redeveloped the outside of it to a nice community space, some nice new shops. And now it's going through another project overhaul, Windrock Town Center development. The project overview, 42,000 square foot mixed use building set to be developed in Windrock Town Center, symbolizing a significant step in the revitalization of the area. It represents a shift in urban development. Project reflects a larger trend in urban planning, mixed use developments becoming more popular, catering to residential, retail, and entertainment need. Speaking to that, there's over 70 events planned at Windrock Town Center for the spring, summer, and fall, and this space would allow for local restaurants and residents to take advantage. But they have some really cool condos that face the community space.
And plus they brought in Lake Tahoe in the middle.
Lake Tahoe is there. You can land your airplanes on it if you have...
Yeah, you know what? I think it's such a neat area in terms of there was always ample space. If you look at some of those Dillard's parking lot, like you could go and go and go and go. They were overbuilt, and which now is probably like a mecca for any developer to go, man, they have enough room. Because creating room is always probably the prohibitive part about developing, right? And
is the parking.
If you're going into a place that has already been established and the ground's been set, it's kind of hard to go backwards. You either have to sacrifice building space or parking. And so a lot of times the parking gets that's another afterthought, and you get to go in a parking garage. But everything's right there, and I thought that Windrock was a perfect place for I wonder what the lot size is on that. It's huge.
Yeah, it's a big development, and I think it's been slow to take hold, but now everything's open. And then they're, like I said, talking about putting in a brand new, workspace.
Plus, I have a Dillard shirt from 9th grade that I think I need to return. It doesn't fit anymore.
Well, as long as you have the tags on it, you can. Most people just walk out with the tags,
No, there's influx of coming in. They're like, no, we're not taking any customers now. We're still chasing all the other ones out.
All of our workers are out arresting people in the parking lot.
Let me tell you something about that Dillard's. It's actually one of the best Dillard's in the country, and it has such an expansive part that I've never seen a men's big and tall section with so much supply. And shout out to Anderson, finally a place where you get his shirts. But it's impressive to go, oh, this is one for this is the dog section, and this is the misses and the petites, and maybe that's going away soon.
the petites in Albuquerque.
Cue up our Albuquerque.
Albuquerque gals.
The girls with mustaches. Whatever that was, someone injected that in terms of a formula. That's crafty, and it's disgusting.
And it plays well to our society here. Coming up next, here's where you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined in studio by Andrew Antonen. He's a mentor, sobriety coach, advocate, and the owner of Amtek Builders locally. And obviously, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips. This is UABQ.
No Grant's rants.
Oh, do you want to rant?
Yeah, I want to rant.
Wait, let's keep rolling.
This is what's
Edit
called
that part.
censorship. Okay.
Flip that, reverse
I've got
it.
a Grant's rant, and it's pertinent every year. But Mark, is Mark overdosing? Thank God. That's not a real cigarette either, I'll have you know. It's a Grant's rant today. It's my perennial allergy talk. Every handsome stud always talks about his allergies, don't they? Isn't that annoying? But here we go. So we're in the allergy season, and it's windy, and it's the spring everyone asks for. And every time on Facebook I see, oh, I can't wait for warmer temperatures. You can't wait for your dog to blow away? Because that's what we've got here. We've got sand, we've got pollen, we've got the Rio Grande emptying. So what do we gather from this, and how do we treat allergies? I'll tell you how. First off, you need a Zyrtec D, or you need a Claritin D. What's the D stand for? Dust. No, it stands for pseudoephedrine, which gets you really, going on your hard days where you have so much allergens and histamines in your system that it can make you sleepy. Not anymore. The other thing is a Flonase. You're going to want to empty out the nasal cavities and start anew with and open up your. I forgot what the term is. Yeah, but there's another term. Anyways, if you have adenoids from allergies, those will kind of get out of the way. And then lastly, you got your dogs and cats bringing in, there's God Swiffers. So they go out there, they gather all the pollen, they go, hi, Dad, nice to see you. And here comes all your pollen. You're going to want to wash them frequently. When you get home, you're going to want to take your clothes off if it's in the right place, no kids, no strangers around, and then put that stuff in the washing machine because you don't want to bring the allergens inside your house. Then, before bed, you're going to want to wash and especially shampoo your hair because you don't want to bring those allergens to bed with you. And there's probably worse things you brought to bed with you, but it doesn't have to be allergens. Now, let's see, what else we got here? That's all. That's all for Grant. Skip's tips and everything in one. What if you used to start talking about allergies? Tired of those allergies and just repeat everything I said? Repeat and repeat. Yeah. You guys tired of allergies like this guy?
Dude, I went to Las Vegas one time with Grant, and we got a little giggly, and the recurring joke was just repeating each other. So if somebody would say something, you just repeat it, and just go back and forth. And so then on the way to the airport, we got lost, and we pulled over in the parking lot, and I was like, I don't know where we are. And then all of a sudden, we looked up, and we were at Pete and Repeat's pawn shop or some shit. And we sat there in the parking lot laughing for like 10 minutes, and then we left.
We also were privy to a friend, Sage, and we were kind of tired at the time. We had him take the car. We were tired at the time. And next thing you know, he's in Vegas at like warehouse docks and fishing supplies, and we're like, dude, where are you? And he's like, why are you asking me? I don't know where we are. I'm just driving. So that was comforting to get home 2 hours later.
Coming up next, we're joined by Andrew Antonen. He's a mentor, sobriety coach, advocate, and the owner of Amtek Builders. Got a great story, taking over the family business. Obviously, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips. This is all about you.
We could have used him in our Vegas days.
ABQ. Oh, welcome back to UABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
I'm Black Belt Harvey. Welcome back.
Black Belt Harvey?
I don't know. I was doing karate earlier.
Well,
you tell me. I'll chop this mother in half.
We're joined by Andrew Antonen. He's a mentor, sobriety coach, advocate, and the co-owner of Amtek Builders here locally to share his story of overcoming and taking over the family business. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for bringing me here. I appreciate it.
What I like about you is born and raised Albuquerque, Rio Rancho guy, and had a chance. I mean, you stayed local and decided to take over the family business.
That's what's the most commendable to me because sometimes you don't want to take over the family business. You want it to burn to the ground. Good for you.
Man, it took a lot of sitting down and thinking, a lot of hard thoughts, because you are right. Working with family it could either be a recipe for success or a disaster recipe, and it was hard. It was hard to figure that one out.
You've got a really cool backstory, in fact, growing up here. And one thing we were commenting on was your tattoos, because I think if you're from New Mexico, you have to have the quintessential Zia, the Zia tattoo. Let's get a shot of the Zia tattoo for sure.
A little known fact about the Zia tattoo, like it's impossible to go put it on shirts and such because it's a trademarked. So at the university we had jerseys, and the knockoff guy who tried to copy us couldn't use the Zia, and we could. But having Zia on things that you were for sale is kind of, it's hard to get past. It's hard.
How do you sell your body now that you have that trademark on you?
How much do you charge for your OnlyFans?
No, Andrew, you have a cool story though. So talk a little bit about growing up in Albuquerque and some of the pitfalls of growing up in Albuquerque and what got you.
Man, so I had a good set of parents. My mother, she's an immigrant from Mexico, got her citizenship here. So I learned Mexican culture from her, and my father's from the Midwest, from Iowa specifically. So I learned Midwestern culture, and
is there one? I was in Kansas one time, and I'm wondering about Midwestern culture. I'm sure the Mexican one far exceeds the Iowa.
I like the Midwest, dude. That's where my family's from. Dude.
Yeah, well,
why are you shitting on the Midwest? We're
in Albuquerque right now.
Yeah,
this is all about you, Midwest. Don't defend the Midwest. Diss Santa Fe. We can diss that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. So, learning those two cultures from them was awesome. But here I am, a kid in a different culture that my parents really don't know. They're learning as I'm learning. And so I wanted to fit in. I wanted to connect, and a lot of culture here is gangs, drugs, rapping, the lowrider culture. That's amazing within itself. So a lot of these communities overlap. And in order for me to feel that I fit in, I happened to jump down some paths that have taught me some hard lessons.
Well, I think that's all about personal growth, is that you have to go through the dark times to appreciate the light at the end of the tunnel. Case in point, UABQ used to be run out of my basement. And
now it's in the back of a Pep Boys.
Yeah, we're doing big things here. But so you ran into some trouble and stumbled a little bit.
I did. So, I had some back issues. I was prescribed oxycodone at a young age, and I don't know if you all remember when the government and the news media was pushing real hard about overprescribing. So during that trend, I was cut off, and I really learned what dependency and addiction was, and I just went to the streets and started buying what I could, and shortly later it went from the real deal to fentanyl, because that's all that was around. So being on fentanyl ultimately caused me to be a bad person in society. I stole from my parents, took advantage of them and other people with their kind and generous help, and ultimately that led me to have 3 felonies, become a habitual offender, and they were trying to put me away in prison because of that. I was given a last chance through drug court, which is a prison diversion program. I completed it. I wanted to help because I grew so much. I learned so much. I was given a volunteer position, became a paid position, and throughout my journey of helping my father rebrand and reestablish the business to be modern, I didn't forget about the promises I made to the community that helped me, which was I would come back around and be there for others and help them see the light.
Yeah, the theme here, I think, is rehabilitation, and that's what we hear is supposed to, the mantra of correction and such. And the correction was made. A lot of times you hear some bad stories and lock them up and such, but you're kind of living proof that don't lock everyone up, give them a chance because you're thriving right now. Now I understand the sentiment and people just focus on the bad, but this is a great story to hear. And for your full admission, I thank you for that. It's pretty brave of you. But what you turned the corner, man, and from here to here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the differences between committing crimes or drug offenses in Albuquerque versus Rio Rancho.
Absolutely. I know we briefly were talking before we went live, and Albuquerque specifically gives a lot of chances. I'm pretty sure that could be a story that can never end. We could talk about it forever on all social media platforms. That's a hot topic right now. And Rio Rancho is a different animal. When it comes to the courts and it comes to the police department, they don't play. There's no room for error, and if you make a mistake, you're going to be held accountable. So it really is a surprise that I was given the chance, considering that all of my crimes were in that demographic area of the state. And so I'm appreciative for it. I'm humble, but it is true. In Albuquerque, you can be given a lot more chances. But with that too, there's also more structure down here. There's more resources for it.
I would say Albuquerque is more well versed into this addiction, and they have more events happening. Right, overall, our populace is increasing and bigger than Rio Rancho. So the instances of crime is a lot less in Rio Rancho. So what happens is they go and they really kind of examine and grill you more because there's not much action over there. In Albuquerque, there's so much going through the process. They go, all right, problem solve this. What is the best way to take care of this? And
process them, get them out, get the next one.
Yeah, and maybe have some programs where if they happen few and far between in Rio Rancho, they would say there's not enough to found a coalition or a panel or any education like that, because it doesn't happen that often. And they have put them away, then it won't, we'll never have to deal with that. So.
Well, talk about the program that you are a part of now and giving back to the community and helping people that were in your same situation.
Okay, so I touched on the courts. So my specific position with the Sandoval County Drug Courts, I facilitate an alumni group. It's a self-help group for others that have completed the program to help encourage the sobriety and be a support system. After doing that for about 6 months, I was given an opportunity to receive my community support worker certification through the state. And so what that does, it allows me to do mentorship. It's teaching. I work alongside clients that have Medicaid and they need to learn about different functional domains such as housing, education and learning, work and employment, and recreation and social. Those are very important things to work on during your recovery journey, because you can have all the resources and all the knowledge to know about your addiction, but if you don't have the housing or the transportation or all the other requirements that probation and parole or courts have for you, you're going to fail.
You're going to fall back into old
Absolutely.
habits.
What's interesting about this is you have the user's guide, and I think it's the difference between getting an instruction manual from IKEA, and the guy goes, "Oh, that's all you got to do," and you go, "Well, I put this dresser together, and it looks like a nightstand now." So with you went through the user end progress, and so then you became on the other end, and you have probably a perspective where you go, "Well, here's what I did," right? And you know how it works, and you can give feedback and change and constructive criticism, and know that you're relating to the people coming in. And so I think that's good to have that perspective, because you can learn so much and be empathetic, but when you truly know what it's like, I think people have a lending ear. So that's good that you paid it back, right? And that's big to pay it back from the institutions and programs that got you on your feet.
Absolutely. I'm very humble, very appreciative. These chances that were given to me, I very well have seen others go through a lot less trouble, and they've gotten worse or more serious consequences. So it's just about helping out the community and tying us together, because we talked about culture, and a lot of my tattoo represents the amazing culture that we have here in Albuquerque. So I'm a big advocate of New Mexico and Albuquerque. This is where I'm from. And I want to make this place reputable. I want people to understand that we take care of each other, even though we have a bad name.
Let's do an admission here. I actually do not have an affinity for Oxy. When you took them?
So this is what I was going to ask you. You always hear about fentanyl in the news, and fentanyl is taking over, and fentanyl is this. Where do you find fentanyl? I mean, what does the process look like? I mean, do you just go find somebody on the street, or what was the process for actually finding?
Right, and how you arrive there, it's a cheaper version, right? So it's oxycodone to heroin to fentanyl sometimes, right? Is that
I feel that I have a pretty good answer for you guys, a summarized answer, right?
For someone that's never been down that path, that doesn't even know where you
Skip's
find
looking
fentanyl.
for the best price.
And do you have a number? I'm just kidding. That's not funny.
No, but we got a joke, right? This is a part of the show, is to understand that it's okay to talk about these things.
Because if you're at the triumph period here,
right.
So but tell me how,
So basically, when you had prescription pills, that was real cut and dry before, right? You had to know someone that had a prescription to buy them. And this is my personal opinion, which is based off of factual stuff that I have researched on. And so everything I've put together, I believe that the drug cartel was smart. They stepped in when they knew that America took away the prescriptions to the clients and to everybody that had pain. They found the opportunity to supply for the demand. And it started off where it was lies, right? Like you thought, that's why they mimicked the looks, the colors. You thought that you were getting a real deal prescription.
A Vicodin.
Right, a Percocet, Vicodin, Oxy, there's different names.
So you would essentially buy it in a pill form.
Correct.
And it would be, and this is my ignorance speaking, but just some guy on a street corner, or?
So it depends on the level of drug dealer you're dealing with. So you have your street dealers, which typically are probably just selling it to fuel their own high themselves. And then the higher up the ladder you go, it turns more into a business transaction instead of a convenience, like back in the day where you have your buddies and one of them would get an ounce and just kind of sell to the other buddies.
Yeah, the jerky
dealers.
What else do you want? You want some drugs? You want some jerky? And jerky's been known to have the same effect as drugs. Just kidding. So when you went, if you talk about, I'm not asking you to narc on anybody, but like when you needed something, what was your step? You went and found a dealer who could find you a dealer?
Yeah, so I mean the same concept here, right? Everything that's gotten me to this point where I'm at now as far as my success is networking, right? If you know people, you go out there.
Definitely black market network.
I was good. I was out there, and unfortunately, when in the drug market, nothing's a guarantee, nothing is consistent, right? So you have to, right? If you're reliant on drugs, you have to have a network of people, because sometimes others don't have, the price isn't right, someone is busy, vice versa. So it's to me, that's how I was, right? But to a lot of other people, they don't have that networking skill, and they are out in the street corner asking and bumming around. And it depends on who you're dealing with, right? A lot of those other people, they're not naive enough to be out soliciting to people in the street.
Right.
So it just depends on who you're dealing with and how many chances they're willing to take.
It's kind of be grimy, and I think a lot of people can learn from this episode of like how fentanyl came to be. My understanding is it was substantially cheaper. So to get your next fix, the availability of it and cheap was how people were able to stay in it, and actually have it like available, right, per price?
Yes and no. So Oxy, it was designed to carry over like 6 to 8 hours, okay? Fentanyl, even though this is elect fentanyl, but true pharmaceutical fentanyl was designed for surgery and pain as well. So it's short term, right? So they understood that if they gave you the short term drug, you'd be back sooner because you'd need more. But it also was more potent than oxy during that short period of time, which made it more addicting and the withdrawals more serious and harder to come off of. So, you know, it's weird, right? Because it did start off where it was cheaper for the drug dealer, and they were selling it for the same price of oxy. But during COVID, what I saw was with the stimulus checks and all of the money, you had everybody decide to go be their own drug dealer, which drove drug prices down drastically. I mean, they went from $30 a pill prior to COVID, you know, $30 to $25 prior to COVID, to now they're like $3 to $6, and it all depends.
Like $7 was like the sliver that you needed, and
Yeah.
the amount of, I would call them events, the amount of time people needed the drug was a lot more than oxy, right? 5-6 times during the day, as opposed to like just needing an oxy or a couple for the.
Yeah, it has you going back in circles.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I learned that firsthand, right? This wasn't taught to me or something I read in a book. This is my own experience from what I've learned being on oxy and then being on fentanyl. The withdrawals are more intense, the high is more intense, but the period of time that it lasts is significantly shorter. So I think they understood the chemistry or you know, the intent of how the drug was supposed to be used, because drug dealers want to maximize their profit.
Yeah, and what the overdoses can happen because of the discrepancy and maybe
Dosage.
something you got used to?
Yeah, inconsistency with having not accurate measurements, and then you have people that are blatantly soliciting an oxy pill, and maybe you really were trying to get an oxy, but you got fentanyl. So a lot of fentanyl users would smoke the pills on foil because they understood that if you smoke, you get your dose, and if you fall asleep, you're done. But if you chuck that whole pill down your stomach,
You're on
you
the
don't
ride,
know.
baby.
You're on the ride.
Okay.
You're committed. You
So
know what I mean?
speaking of that, did you have any close calls?
I did. So fortunately, I never was woken up by paramedics or, you know, in a serious situation. But I've totaled the car because I was high, and luckily to me, right? But being transparent and honest, I should have been held accountable for that. I didn't hit other cars, but I totaled my own car. And then there's a couple times that other people, concerned citizens or family members, had found me incoherent and I wasn't responding. And you know, when I woke up, I knew that I was gone. You know, and I had came back, and so I've had some extremely close calls. I'm very lucky to be here.
What's interesting about this is you're an articulate, capable guy right here standing there, and there's a Jekyll and Hyde that occurs with these drugs, so it's hard to go really pin someone's actions and going, yeah, that's a terrible person. They are per what's happening to them, but here you are, you know, in your baseline health, you're a good guy. But when people understand there's real stories like that, and there's a person underneath this habit, it's easier to be humane than to go, you know, book them. I don't want to dominate this whole time because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the family business.
Yeah, let's talk about, you know, burning bridges with the family to all of a sudden taking over Amtek Builders and rebuilding the brand. Talk about that whole transition.
Well, so, you know, my father is a hardworking man. My grandma's still alive. She's 96 years old. I'm getting ready to go see her in June because that woman is my role model. The woman that taught my father and myself the traits and the habits to get us where we're at. And so he grew up on the farm since he was 8 years old, working, providing for the family. My grandfather would take off, go haul different loads on the truck, and my grandmother would stay home and do the pioneer life. So he worked really hard to try to help his family, and that was the expectation that was set in place for me. I was spoiled, you know, I didn't understand the culture, the change of life, and him being 40 years old and I'm being born, there's just a whole different aspect when it comes to generations. So with time, we grew apart from each other. I was not interested in helping him, but he expected me to help, kind of forced me. So everything I did was half-assed, right? I didn't do a good job. And then it got to be, I'm going to borrow money from my dad or my mom, money I could never pay back. And then I went to I would take it. And that really drove my parents to kick me out. You know, the last time I went to jail, I was on a probation violation. My dad didn't talk to me the whole month I was there. had nothing to do with me. So when I came out, I was in some deep waters. Like, my family didn't want to have a thing to do with me or support me in any way, shape, or form because they've invested everything that they had. And at this point, I was tearing them down. So I came out with genuine intentions, right? Being sober was the goal, the first goal to accomplish. And with that, I really came back with good intentions to try to pay my dad back, but I can't pay him back with cash. So maybe I can get the business to a point where his good ratings and all of his experience can be known, and people can reach out to him for what he's an expert in his craft.
Good.
Right?
Let's talk about Amtek Builders. Mark, do you have the website? Let's pull it up a little bit. Because you guys do some really cool stuff as far as custom garages and talk about some of the projects you guys do.
Absolutely. So we build custom garages and workshops. They are literally custom, right? So if you want a single car unfinished, just super duper simple, cost effective, just a basic storage area, we could do that. And we've done stuff that is probably more expensive and more fancy than some of the houses other people live in. So that garage there on the left is a custom garage we've built in Rio Rancho next to a custom home. And on that website, you'll see a news clip which features the inside of it.
Which
floors.
there were two garages. Was it both of them or the one in the very left?
Just that standalone.
The one on the very left is standalone. It's a detached garage. So that one has a custom bar, epoxy floors, a lift for working on the cars.
Garage is where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just garages and workshops, right? It's any detachable space, maybe a hobby room, maybe you need a gym. We're getting ready to start an archery room. A guy wants to practice shooting his bows and arrows. So there's lots of versatile ways to do it. We've even done some where they add a little extra space for a casita or
I was going to say some
living
quarters that you don't need to tell the city, get off our back.
And it does good. It does both the consumer and us well because it provides equity. There's equity behind that.
Now that there's a movement with the city adding 750 square feet if the zoning's correct.
Yeah.
Do you make something in combination? Not asking for like a living area, but someone between you and someone's capability inside and decor and such. What's the best structure you think would lend itself well to like a casita?
Well, I
would you put in a door, or would you go, hey, everyone, knock on the garage door?
No, so most of our garages and workshops, we always have a steel side door on the side so you can have personal access. You have the garage doors, skylights, no skylights, solar tubes.
I like the steel door. Sorry, solicitors.
Yes.
I'm not, cross my moat.
It gives it the secure feel, who wants one of those like cardboard manufactured interior doors that you can buy at Lowe's?
So that's great. So what I like about your company, Amtek, is that you have so many positive reviews online, and you've stepped in and really helped to promote that and get, because, like you were saying, the old man is an old man. He doesn't know what the hell, the internet is.
And plus, there's a difference between having a proficiency and being a businessman and being good at marketing.
Right.
And I'll tell you, to give a shout out to the family business that I didn't want a part of, my dad his business was predicated on phone calls. Guess who didn't answer his phone? So then the business would get slower. And it's like, sometimes people just you stick them to their proficiency and say, don't touch anything. Right. I got you. Right? And sometimes it takes two entities. And now he's probably really valuing your youth for touching on avenues that he wouldn't have been able to get to.
I definitely can jump on that. I feel we have a good balance, right? Because some people, I like to be a hybrid. I like the old school system because if technology fails, you still have it.
Still have your Rolodex, yeah.
Right. But technology wins when it comes to efficiency and speed, right? And being versatile and being able to have more resources. So my dad was super resistant. Like, he was the guy that was like, why should I trust you, the drug addict that stole from me, that doesn't have a degree? My dad went to college to do what he wanted to do. He has over 40 years of business experience. So it was, to him, it was like, you're insulting me. Like, I'm the one that teach you. But, that brings up a good point too. If you believe in something, you believe in yourself and you're dedicated to it and you put in the work, the results show. And so when my dad started seeing results and stopped listening to what my ideas were in my mouth, that's when he gave me the reins and said, okay, I like what you're doing. So I rebranded him. He needed an up-to-date website, up-to-date logo. He needed social media. He needed pictures. We implement drone video, which gives a whole new perspective, which everyone in the real estate world is adapting to that.
He's a big drone guy.
So I like to, to take the pride in that, right? So both of us having experience with different things and then sharing our experiences together, bring us together to work in a fashion that I don't think a lot of others can bring to the table. My dad is very, very strict when it comes to customer service and making sure that customer is happy. Those reviews that are online, those are, we have good Google reviews. We have good reviews in other platforms, but those are verified reviews. Those are actual customers that we've dealt with, that we've worked with, that are verified through the lead service that we've
So when you
used.
get like perform a bid or you have customer inquiries, do they get to talk to your dad? Who does? How do you shuffle through all the opportunities?
Right. So most of the time, I try to have, my dad has a lot of his own network as well, so his own people will get a hold of him. But anything that you see on social media, on this podcast, my numbers typically primary. I try to be able to get all the preliminary information. I'm the guy that's going to be able to research the property online.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at schedules. I may be able to free up my time to at least come and
You
look.
qualify it, right?
I'm qualified to come get the preliminary stuff, and my dad comes through later and does the stuff he's qualified to do, which is look at the details.
You have a dad like I think you have, who probably speaks well to like a dad like mine and Skip's dad. There's a need for that guy too, right? You want to see the guy that's not gimmicky and go, look, I put these things together and my work speaks for itself.
Right.
I think you're right about the hybrid. I think it's great to have a guy like that. I expect a
He
stern
sells.
dad. And
He
you go,
sells
you want a
like
stern
that.
dad making your stuff. You don't want a guy joking around like us.
Yeah.
We can't even build a teepee.
Because I'm young, so trying to convince someone, hey, hand me over $100,000. I used to be a drug addict, would you? So
I'll
it's
take
easy.
$100,000 without doing any drugs.
It's
Find them
easy
later.
for him, to pull up and they see, okay, you have over 40 years experience, you're educated, you know what you're doing. And, he blows a lot of our competitors out of the water with simply just making the job happen, right? There's a lot of people in that industry, in the construction industry, that are scared.
Oh, I know about
Yeah,
that. It's called
ask
my
him.
bathroom. You don't want those guys.
Right.
But yeah, that's okay.
Well, Andrew, I was just going to say, man, it's the quintessential story of taking over the family business and splitting work with the old man. So we applaud that, and I think that's great because there's a lot of that going on in Albuquerque.
I'm glad you want to do it. Yeah.
I all of it is understanding, hey, my mom has early onset dementia. My dad uses a walker, and all my mom's family is in Mexico. My dad's family is in Iowa. It's time for me to take the torch and to be a man and to take care of the family and to make sure that they're taken care of. That's really the purpose
That's
of
what
life.
we're
applaud
talking
that.
about on
There we
UABQ. Take that with you.
Yeah, Andrew, I appreciate that. That's a good statement to end on. So we appreciate you showing up here on UABQ and look forward to all your success. We'll have links to your Instagram and your website here in the show notes.
There's plenty. Yeah, you have plenty of material. Good job on that conversion.
Coming up next, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips.
Allergy tips, part 2.
This is UABQ.
We're back. Interesting story. A lot of depth on that guy. We always talk about Casitas, so I'd be interested to see what we can do and maybe show some of his projects later on. But for right now, we're going to talk about allergies and you, Skip's Tips.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. It Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun in real estate or wiki real life. It's out with the old and in with the new. 5 rules for buying a home in 2025. The old rule was there's no homes on the market. You need to hurry up and make an offer. Well, now as the market changes, we have more inventory, so buyers have a chance to choose. Old rule was there's no room for negotiations. Just hurry up and write an offer. Now, as homes sit on the market a little bit longer, buyers are getting more power when it comes to negotiations. Sellers are willing to make concessions and buyers have more purchasing power. Old rule was homes are selling fast. Just make an offer ASAP. There's more homes to choose from, so take your time, make an informed, educated decision when making this investment. Old rule was, rates are so high, but don't worry, just wait, they're gonna drop. Well, guess what? Rates are expected to stay relatively the same as we head through the rest of the year. So there's no point in waiting for rates to drop. Just get in the house now and start building that equity. The new rule is, look, just find a house you like at a payment you can afford and take that step towards home ownership. Oh yeah, and share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what I hate, because it was a catchy thing in the industry to say date the rate, marry. I hate catchphrases. And the thing is, oh, you're going to date the rate? Oh, it's been 2 years now. So are you married or not? So that was kind of just a stupid, like rates are going to go down based off of what? Nothing. I'll tell you, rates take a little dip down.
Rates are down,
and then
actually.
they went up back up. But, and what's also interesting was people say, don't hold your breath. When have you ever held your breath for someone? Hey, Skip, where do you think the market's headed? No, the guy's all, no, you'll die before he gives the answer. Oh, slowpoke here's not going to talk to you until next Wednesday.
Slowpoke
and now
to low
you're
rate.
dead. Now how many answers you need? 0. And that is Skip's Tips.
Every Wednesday night, Sunday morning on the Education Channel and Channel 27, also worldwide on UABQ.
Don't
YouTube.
ever hold your breath. It's bad for you. Good night.
This is all about UABQ.
That's Grant's Tips.
Great.
You're watching UABQ.